So good to have you back. I want to use this to explain something I know will stick to you for a while. This is milk and this is water. Now, what happens if you mix the two of them together? Just like now. What do we now have? Hold on. We are now in chapter 5 of this super spiritual plus scientific manual, Becoming Supernatural, how common people are doing the uncommon by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I just did that little experiment to explain this. By the way, did you watch our previous episodes? If you did not watch them, you've missed a lot. Like I said, this book is rich. I can't go over many of the things I have said in the past. So you have to just keep following me as I progress. That little experiment I have just conducted is to explain what the author says in this book, in this chapter, that your thoughts produces your feelings and your feelings produces your thoughts. He calls it a thought feeling loop. You can call it a thought feeling cycle. What does it mean? Your thoughts trigger the release of certain chemicals in your brain that makes your body to feel exactly the way you think. Those feelings create more similar thoughts, creating a loop or a cycle of thoughts, feelings, thoughts. This cycle can trap you in past emotions, keeping you stuck in old patterns. Over time, your thoughts and feelings begin to control you, making it hard for you to break free from the past because your mind and body are deeply connected. Therefore, to give yourself a break and give your life a change, something new must be introduced. That's why this author, Dr. Joe Dispenza, has recommended a special kind of breathing exercise. Remember, in the last episode, I mentioned that overstimulation of the base energy centers, beginning from the reproductive energy center and the other two lower energy centers, can keep the body permanently in survival mode. So this author recommends fasting from food, sexual activities, interpersonal relations to make these energy centers recover their energy and store them back up. So now the magnet. He likens the human body to a magnet with the magnetic flux that is capable of magneting our good intentions to us. But living perpetually in survival emotions make our body to lose our magnetic flux, that thing in the magnet that make it magnet metal shavings. If we live perpetually for a long time in survival emotions, we lose the ability to magnet the things we desire, the things we pray for, the things we expect. And the danger there is that we'll subject our bodies to become more matter and less energy. Remember, we are talking about energy here. So the next thing you're looking at is the breathing exercise proper. So what breathing exercise has this author recommended? Remember, this is a spiritual and scientific formula combined. That means the result will definitely be superb and supernatural. So he says, when you settle down in meditation, take some minutes and tighten, freeze or squeeze and release, tighten and release those three basic or best energy centers: the reproductive energy center, the one shortly before the navel, and the one at the navel before you get to the heart center. I explained all of those energy centers in the last episode. So getting to do that up to 3 to 5 times every time you settle for in meditation does something to your body that has been scientifically proven. And what is that? It releases and forces upward from your spine to your brain cerebrospinal fluid. It floods your entire body, that track, with cerebrospinal fluid. What is that? Again, you may ask. That's why I'm here. It is the very fluid that recharges your body and causes it to get its magnetic flux back, to be able to be attractive and receptive of your intentions and your expectations. From the electromagnetic field around you. Remember, we laid this foundation exhaustively in the last episode. That's why I said don't miss any episode so you can follow up and learn all the lessons there is in this work. Yet another lesson of this breathing exercise, of this special kind of meditation exercise, is that it gets your brain into the gamma brain waves. What does it do to you? The activation of the gamma brain waves in you floods you with more energy, and that energy is not coming from outside. Inside of you, it releases more energy in you. That's just one. Second, super sensitivity. The same way we at high beta brain waves are sensitive or alert to the danger in our external environment, because our brain will always release stress hormones for us to either fight or flight in the face of danger and external stimuli. The gamma brain waves leads to a heightened sense of awareness, of consciousness, of alertness to supernatural or spiritual experiences and whatever is available in God in the quantum field, including information and signals, and to all the events that are in our 5D. It makes them more real to us. The next benefit is that more energy as light will flood our body, what we call the Brahma tube, also known as the life force, which allow for the passage of electrical information in and around our body. So the next thing we're looking at is environments and signaling of the gene. Remember in chapter 2, we said that it is not just because you inherited a particular gene from your parents that you are predisposed to certain sicknesses, but it is the environment that signals the expression of the gene. So we are reminded here by the author that it is your internal environment that causes you to be predisposed to or to activate a particular gene. And what is this internal environment? Your emotions. He goes ahead to say that one who had a terrible experience in the past, say a trauma, a shock, a major loss, could have turned on a major gene at the occurrence of that event. For that person to heal, they have to change their body into a new genetic expression through an opposite or a higher emotional charge than the one they suffered when that event or that incident occurred. That's where these newly recommended breathing exercise and elevated emotions are combined for your benefits, for your use. Remember, we had talked about elevated emotions, so you need to get your hands on with that. This author goes ahead on page 138 to present a picture that spells out at least 8 genes that his students, the participants at his advanced workshop in Florida, altered by just combining these two I've just mentioned, the breathing exercise and the elevated emotions. Some of the benefits included they healed their body, they turned down the oxidative stress, they turned on gene that could help in healthy placenta and thyroid function. The gene that could suppress tumor and cancer cells we also turned down, etc. Over 8 different types of genes, activation or reduction we achieved. So finally, we are going to talk about the DNA. So this author goes ahead to remind readers that science has proven that we can only put to use about 1.5% of our DNA, calling the remaining ones, a junk DNA. And this contradicts the basic biology facts we learned that nature or God does not waste anything he or it provides. Listen to this. He therefore persists that the remaining 98.5 of your DNA is actually of infinite combinations. What does that mean? That means there are gene combinations or gene variations that can actually turn us to geniuses of different spheres only if we can turn them on. And one way to get that done is to trick your body, trick your brain, trick your emotions to activate the potential in the quantum field through elevated emotions and this recommended exercise, breathing exercise, squeezing and letting go of those energy centers in the place of meditation. And finally, between pages 140 and 142, he goes ahead to give us detailed explanation on how to carry out the breathing exercise during meditation. This is where we'll be rounding off. It's quite long. Like I said, we'll be doing 1 episode per chapter, no longer many episodes for each chapter. So don't miss any. I will appreciate your like, I'll appreciate your comment. I need your opinion. I need your take on this. And don't forget, keep popping.